Thank you very much for your time. My name is Rusty Love,
And I'm Lawyerthug.
and we're gonna get right into it today. We have an interview for you today, and this is my one of my newest clanmates, but time does not matter. Everyone is appreciated in Pumpkin. Do you want to go by lawyer or do you want to go by thug?
A lawyer is just fine.
Alrighty. Lawyer, what is your first frame in Warframe?
So my first frame was Excalibur. I understood that compared to the other Warframes, he was rather basic. For some people, that could have been a turn off, but that's like what I really wanted. I want like a really baseline frame to start off. It's like a very direct, simple solution, and those are the solutions that I really like.
Was it the simplicity itself that drew you to the frame itself, or was there something else that attracted your attention?
So two things: the simplicity, like you said, was a really nice like starting point for Warframe, because as we all know, it's a pretty complex game, especially on higher levels. But also because he was a poster boy for, and it still is a poster boy for the game, so it was kind of like a biased pick due to that.
Oh, I understand. I've played many games where I've had to get that poster summon or character.
Yeah,
I've played a
yeah.
lot of gotchas. Do you have any other
Oh god.
frames that you like to main?
As in, what other frames do I possess?
What flame? What other frames do you like to play the absolute most other than Excalibur?
Oh, so when it comes to my true main, it is Valkyr,
Ooh,
and Valkyr. That's because Valkyr is like a really strong option for melee, and I always really like going for melee.
is
But
that
what
why your
sold
drip
me?
looks nice? Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, oh no, it is just I actually recreate the same artistic form for every other Warframe. Like all of my Warframes have the exact same color palette and the exact same armor.
Mm.
But that's just me because I like streamlining stuff. I don't have enough platinum to drip out every single frame I have. It's an expensive endeavor. But where was I? Funny thing, the initial sell about Valkyr for me was not any of the metallitic stuff. It was the rip line. Being
Really?
able to Spider-Man, being able to Spider-Man after like every level, just at insane speeds, especially after the rework where I think the range got improved.
I was gonna bring it up. You probably really enjoyed this rework because they did a lot. They did some actual improvements to the ripline ability for Valkyrie. It makes it a lot more easier to use, and it grapples more
Oh yeah,
enemies.
oh yeah. I'm a bit sad that you no longer pull the enemy to yourself. Like you don't yank him to a ragdoll state anymore. I'm a bit sad that's gone, but I feel like she's like at least 300 times more effective nowadays.
I was iffy about her rework, but after really trying her out, I really do like her. She's fun.
I remember I remember the rework being like controversial because they removed the invulnerability state on her 4 and people got pissy.
Is there anything else about Excalibur and Valkyria that made you choose them? Or did you have any tips about the frames?
So I don't really have any tips. I'm like intermediate player at least. There's no like elite ball knowledge I have to bestow upon anyone listening. But the additional reason why I picked Valkyrie in specific, especially on my third time coming into the game, because I had like three accounts, my original account spanning all the way to Second Dream. The reason why I
Ooh.
picked her was it reminisces heavily of an original character that is made by a friend of mine. He's a
Oh.
writer. He does like fictional stuff, and it really reminded me of one of the characters. So I wanted to represent that myself,
That's
showing how
actually
cool it would be.
that's actually really nice. Connections like that definitely really do help you really fall for a frame and really get into the game.
Absolutely.
What frame do you think people should play more?
I don't really see very much of like Site '09s.
Hmm?
Probably because he's logged behind like a really late content, like 1999. But I feel like the gimmicks that Site '09 brings to the table, especially the ammo cases that you can imbue elemental damage into anyone's magazine, while not effective every time because like bows or whatever, it sounds it's a really cool concept. It gives him like a title of like small support, even if he's not really about that.
Hmm.
And also, he's practically has ESP built into his kit, and he can just scan walls, like he will be playing Counter Strike. I feel like that's a really cool mechanic, and I would love to see more Sight on Nines for that reason.
I really don't see Sight Online myself either, and although I don't like his sniper, I really do like his ammo, and it does make him a really nice support frame for people who want a little bit extra damage for their frames. So if you are lacking in the
If
build for Sight 9, you can easily use his ammo ability to buff your teammates and still help out. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, and also I feel like the reason why Saito 9 isn't really that popular is because his primary survivability is kind of like stealth focused, and we all know that nobody really practices stealth in like level 100 and up or like in Steel Path.
As fun
People
as
just kind of
stealth is, we all know that one random status proc and you're dead.
yeah,
Especially
unless you're really fast on the up,
you can keep going, or was that it?
especially if you're unless you are really fast on the transference key, then you can like hop into operator mode and void the damage. But
I sadly don't have that skill, but I have a small tremor in my hand, so I fumble a lot.
uh,
What frame what frame or frames do you think need a rework?
so when it comes to reworks, I would really love Chroma to see the lighter greatness again. He kind of fell off from like the people's favor, and I feel like for a good reason. Really, he's kind of outdated when it comes to his kit, and also the building requirement for Chroma. Like, assuming you just don't buy the prime off of the market, just to skip it, right? The building requirement for Chroma is pretty insane because you essentially have to run lamps across the whole star chart. Like you have to unlock almost the whole thing to get the parts. And considering you find out about Chroma really early, you're probably not going to have access to a whole lot of the star chart. But when you actually making an effort to get the frame, all the parts like Sarin, Ember, all those requirements, and you try to take Chroma into a higher level play area, and you really see the fall off from the abilities, it's really kind of nauseating because you put so much effort into get put into like building the whole set. It's really disheartening, especially for new players who don't really have a lot of frames yet.
The his Chroma's base frame is like what, three or four different
And I think you need Sarin, Ember, and I forget the other one.
it's
But
each element each warframe is an element. So Ember's fire, you said Saren's toxin, so we need a cold, which might be
Frost, you probably
frost.
it probably was Frost, and electricity you would need Vault, I think.
Evolve.
Probably. And that's like a clan exclusive, so you're not in the clan, there's nothing you can do.
Was it just Chroma that you were thinking needed a real rework nowadays in Warframe?
I mean, there's obvious picks like Ember. Ember is really holding up as well. But like, I have a personal stake in Chroma because Chroma was my first prime.
Have you noticed how DE kind of acts around Ember? They know she used to be stronger, but they don't want to actually give her the strength back.
I don't really poke around my head around the internals of DE, so I wouldn't know. But I just really wish that sometime we can get a rework for either Ember or Chroma. Yeah.
She's definitely no longer a good fire frame, sadly. Who is your best fashion frame?
So this is a problem because I'm not really sitting in the fashion crowd, as I explained earlier. I know it's a big thing, but like I'm a I like simple taste. I like simple looks. So tricking out my frames in the aesthetics field at least would be really taxing on the platinum, which I don't really have a constant stream of. I'm trying to. I would rather spend that money mostly on things like mods or other functional items. But what I can say is that when it comes to looks, like the base looks of every base frame, I really, really think that Garuda has a really nice design to her.
Now, I do like her claws most definitely, and her actual prime design I like, even though her base design's a bit iffy for me. It's a very gray area, but I like her prime very much.
I haven't looked into primes. They're not really. I have yet to get a single prime item on this account, so I'm not really looking into the primes nowadays. But I'm sure it's looking great. I'll check it out later. But if it comes to base frames, then Garuda stock is really pleasing my eyeballs, shall I say?
Is there any fashion you wanted to show off?
Nah, I don't really have anything show off worthy. Most of it is just to please my own eyes. You know,
Hey,
like use the colors I like and don't really show off to anybody. That's why it's really like free tone colors
that
because those
is
are my favorite colors. And
mm, that is the only reason you should fashion. I think at least this strip right here looks really nice. And you think it might be simple, but for three different colors, it's a bit more complicated to still match than most people would first think. Matching colors is not that easy.
I imagine it's not easy, but like um, I would rather show off my power level by nuking an entire tile set than show off how good I look while doing it.
I'm a support player. I'll definitely call you next time I need a nick. Speaking of Gruda, who is your favorite proto frame?
Proto frame. While I didn't pick him as a partner because I'm sure that question will come up, I really like Arthur's character
Ah, yeah,
because he's a man with lives of his friends on his shoulders, and it's probably not an easy life, especially in the Warframe universe when everything that is not pinned to a goddamn wall is trying to kill you, as we've seen with Techrot. Like one wrong word or decision could spell someone's early demise, and like that's a reality he has to live with for like days on end. It's not an easy thing. I'm familiar with this kind of weight, albeit it wasn't as grave, it wasn't as critical. So seeing this represented in the Hex storyline through his character is really like looking inward for me because I know like that was somewhere I was at one point.
I really do see that in Arthur. It really does, in his character in game, does actually look like he has that. baggage on his shoulders, but he's still willing to stand up for and do what needs to be done.
There was a quote he like says when you approach him in the Holvanian Mall. I think it says something like, "We're making a difference. That's a rare feeling in this kind of world, in this kind of work." That's a really nice quote. I enjoy it every time I hear it.
One more time, just in case for the people. What's the quote?
Um, the quote goes, "We are making a difference. It's a rare feeling in this line of work." End quote.
Yes, very nice. Very true words. I like them. And also do like Arthur.
Okay.
Who did you choose for your hex state?
Oh, oh. I picked Eleanor. A lot of people like to base the chase on Eleanor because of that freaky tongue of hers.
Uh,
I don't understand. That's really like objectifying now. But I really like the way she handles conversations and which topic she decides to deepen. Like you can really tell when she cares about a certain topic. It, she's clearly full of empathy, despite being turned into like a murder machine, biomechanical murder machine. And like that, this empathy is being dwindled by the reality of the war she's unfortunately fighting. And I think the player choice of grounding that empathy within her is just a really good character development for her. Probably the best out of the whole cast.
you do have a good point. Low key, she has a very strong emotional story. Considering how Letty actually acts, most of the time when you first see the ex, you would think Eleanor would be the mean one, but really, Eleanor is pretty nice. She may be snippy sometimes, but she has something going on, so it's understandable why she.
She's assertive. I don't hate Lady, but like I do not appreciate your tone, lady. Step off your shoes.
Oh, most definitely, Letty has some issues and likes to vent them onto people. So
I I'm a little guilty because I use the Kimulacrum. Are you familiar with the Kimulacrum?
I don't understand.
Kimulacrum is a site that allows you to simulate the Kim conversations with other proto frames,
Ah, okay.
like without consequences. And I like to be a little bit guilty. And when I simulate lady conversations, I do like every single wrong dialogue choice. And the amount of insults you receive by the end of it, dude.
Uh, At least it's virtual and simulated, and you're not actually saying this to Lady, because she would.
Oh, I wouldn't, I wouldn't sacrifice my save. I
Um,
remember saying a wrong thing to Eleanor once, and it was like on rank 3 chemistry.
ooh,
I immediately reset.
I try
I
not to
immediately rolled
flex.
back all conversations.
I try not to flex, but for me, talking to the hex was really easy. It was gifting them that was the hard part. I couldn't tell what they liked.
I figured that out later. It's not that like I found it hard to talk to them, but like it was like 3 in the morning, and I was just not thinking right. So it was a really bad call.
You've been answering pretty. You've been answering very nicely. You've actually answered three questions in one answer.
I tried to be comprehensive.
We can actually skip right to which frame would you like to see as a proto next?
So this might be really biased, but I think it would be really fun to see Volker as a proto frame, because in lore she's like a really tortured soul, right? Because of all the prelude that resulted in her creation. So seeing those kinds of issues, qualities, whatever, exposed in like a human form would probably be a really interesting spectacle to navigate.
I do most definitely agree with that. I love Valkyrie herself. She's my cheese frame for just being strong, and she's actually one of my best looking fashion frames. So if an actual more lore on her and her backstory for me would actually be really good, really nice.
Yeah, yeah, I would really like to see um more lore regarding Valkyr. Maybe a Lavarian or like a proto Valkyr would be really nice.
Do you think Valkyr and Garuda have a past or could?
Um, I mean, a lot of people would think that, I feel like, because of the claws and also the love for violence, but I don't think I can't think of a way to tie them together, really.
Well, I was thinking, let's leave the claws and violence out of it. They both seem to have not only a violent past, but they also seem to be very combat smart, very wise in the arts of fighting. Like they could have been actual soldiers before everything happened. But that's coming from someone who doesn't know a thing about either of their lore.
Yeah, the reason I was hesitant to answer that is because I don't know jack about Garuda. I just know that her design is really cool and that she likes to toss their blood of their enemies back at them. So while I wouldn't say no if their lore was intertwined, I don't see it happening personally.
Did you have any advice you could give to the future or current Tenno?
So I'm assuming like directed to people who are starting out, um, play solo. If you have like really good friends with really good gear that can just eradicate all the effort you need to put into a level A, that would be a really detrimental way to numb down your own experience. I feel like the struggle of like early level performance has to be present to really inspire the desire to get better, to really start understanding the game on a deeper level, and to do what is necessary to meet that level of performance that is required of you.
I feel you, I really do. When I was when I first started off, I had seen an Ember, a fully built Ember, and I was amazed by her strength. And since that day, I immediately wanted that kind of power. So I tried my best to learn this game. So those words are very true. Thank you.
Way I would like to say about that, branching
Hmm.
off of that, if you do have friends in a higher echelon of play that want to play with you, then just be kind and ask them if they could dump down their little builds a little to kind of match your pace. Because you would be doing them a favor, because I don't imagine one tapping every single enemy on the tile set is particularly fun, like from a standstill. There
You,
has to be some effort put into it.
you make a good point. One clan member said something about my build being a stacking build. That's why it's so strong, but I didn't understand their terminology. But honestly, my mods were just advanced level for what he was looking for, and I just didn't understand that because I've been playing for 7+ years now.
Yeah, I get what you mean. This actually on this account, I have made the most amount of progress. I'm really just getting into all the high level stuff. Level 100. Maybe sometimes still path. I'm still like terrified of the mode itself. So, but like hopefully I'll get to enough power level to meet the demand. I'm gonna need those like arcane adapters either way, so might as well start.
You have Pumpkin by your side, so you're not alone in that adventure. In that,
Yeah, I understand that, but there is something cathartic in being able to overcome something by your own self. I don't mind asking people for help, but I feel like at a certain point I should be able to deal with the problem alone and just treat the presence of other people as a helping hand of convenience.
You are pretty smart and a very wise Tenno. Thank you again for your time. Let's say goodbye to the
I've been a
people and hope they have a nice day. And if they liked this video, please leave a like, share, and enjoy.